America is not God, America is not the end of the earth, and it doesn't matter what the Americans think. In the final analysis, the truth will come out. What I advocate is violent self-defense, because I don't think you can really have a defense against violent racists and against terrorists unless you are prepared to meet violence with violence.
Welcome everyone. This is Message to the Grassroots with your poet scholar, Biz Molotov, aka Voodoo Child, coming at you on Poor People's Revolutionary Radio, 96.1 FM LP in Deep East Oakland, Alani territory. Welcome to the show tonight. We opened up with a clip tonight of Robert Williams from the documentary Negroes with Guns, and I think that sets the theme for what we're going to be talking about. And maybe are we ready? We still going? So tonight we want to talk about. Several weeks ago we had our brother Turhawk on. Does that have to be that loud? We had brother Turhawk on. And we were talking about the FBI's new destination, black folks who dare struggle against this U.S. colonial settler empire, and new label being designated as Black Identity Extremists, or BIEs. A lot of people see this as a replay of the 60s, 70s FBI program, COINTELPRO. Some are calling it COINTELPRO Part 2. Well, since we had that discussion, there's been some new developments. The FBI, the federal government, has made its first arrest and attempted prosecution of a black identity extremist. It's a brother by the name of Balagan. He has been charged with a federal crime of ex-felon possessing a weapon. And we're going to get into that. So right now, the FBI this is the first case now where the FBI tracks and arrests so-called black identity extremists, and hardly anyone is even talking about this. You're not hearing nobody in the Congressional Black Caucus. You're not hearing other black leaders addressing this issue. So the question is this the first prosecution of a so-called black identity extremist? And will it be the last? If so, then who is next? Well, if you're involved in social justice work, or you're involved in dismantling this archaic parasitic social order known as AmeriClan, then your asses might be the next one, or my ass for that matter. While the FBI has designated black identity extremists as a terror threat, it has not similarly identified white extremist groups who are killing the vast majority of police in this country, suggesting politics rather than data at play here. We want to bring you up on the background of this case, just in case you aren't aware of the label black identity extremists, because it is something that most aren't talking about, even though this development has serious ramifications for activists confronting white supremacy and white power. 6 months after the FBI issued a report inventing from a whole cloth the term black identity extremists, claiming this group poses a terrorist threat to police, the first apparent case of the prosecution of a BIE has emerged. The black identity extremist destination has created concern in the black community that the FBI is launching a new COINTELPRO program targeting black activists who have committed no crimes, with more arrests and prosecution of those involved in racial justice movements to follow. The FBI has a long tradition of treating black political movements as terrorists and enemies of the state and a threat to national security and public safety. That brings to mind Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Medgar Evers, and many, many others that this order saw as a threat to the status quo. So on December 12, 2017 in Dallas, Christopher Daniels, also known as Rakeem Balaam, was arrested during a raid on his home and charged with the unlawful possession of a firearm, the result of more than 2 years of FBI surveillance, as Foreign Policy magazine reported. Federal agents held Daniels outside in his underwear and seized 2 firearms the government claims he is barred from owning due to a 2007 misdemeanor domestic assault conviction in Tennessee. Now, this domestic assault, he was first charged with domestic violence. He took a plea, and he accepted a plea of domestic assault, which does not bar one in Texas from owning a weapon, actually. So this is very interesting that he's been charged with this. Among other items FBI agents took from Daniels' home was a copy of the book Negroes with Guns by civil rights activist Robert F. Williams. That's Robert F. Williams' voice you heard at the beginning of the show. Williams' book describes how what they was called the Black Armed Guard in the South, a group of armed black men, repelled Klan violence against integration and protected the freedom riders and other civil rights workers in the South. Actually, if it wasn't for the Black Guard and the Deacons for the Defense, the civil rights movement as we know it today might not have went as far as it did. Robert Williams was also the forefather of the Black Power movement and the Black Panther Party for self-defense. They confiscated his book. Why? The Huey P. Newton Gun Club, a pro-open carry group of which Daniels or Balagoon is a founder, tweeted that, quote, black political activists are under surveillance by the FBI. From Dallas to South Carolina, our political activity, even when conducted within the law, is criminalized. According to Foreign Policy magazine, the FBI became interested in Daniels in 2015 from a video of him participating in a police brutality protest, which was posted on the right-wing conspiracy theory website InfoWars. Alex Jones, the Austin, Texas-based radio and TV show, hosts InfoWars. You might remember Alex Jones. He said that the Sandy Hook shooting and the bombing in the Boston Marathon were all hoax and was set up by President Barack Obama. He also said America was making people gay. He also said that Barack Obama was not born here. And Alex Jones is the dude behind Donald Trump charging that there was mass voter fraud going on in the United States, which is proven to be BS, even according to Donald Trump. Alex Jones. So we're seeing the FBI is getting their information and their motives from right-wing demagogues. This is nothing new. This is nothing new at all. FBI surveillance of Daniels and other activists extended to Detroit and South Carolina. The FBI claims Daniels, quote, openly and publicly advocates violence toward law enforcement, which is his constitutional right, by the way, on his Facebook profile, and posted words of admiration for Michael X. Johnson, who killed 5 Dallas police officers in 2016, and Tremaine Wilburn, who is accused of killing a cop in Memphis, Tennessee. FBI is responding to pressure from the right wing, monitoring for 2 years a black activist with an 11-year-old misdemeanor conviction to prosecute him for a federal gun charge. This targeting of Daniels reflects the inherent racial bias of the FBI's organizational culture, a culture that finds virtually all shootings by federal agents justified and classifies all victims of homicide by a police officer as felons. If convicted, Daniels could face up to 10 years in prison. In August 2017, the FBI published an intelligence report called Black Identity Extremists, likely motivated to target law enforcement officers. In the report, the FBI said, quote, it is very likely that black identity extremist perceptions of police brutality against African Americans spurred an increase in premeditated, retaliatory, lethal violence against law enforcement and will very likely serve as justification for such violence. Quote, unquote. The report claims this increase in ideologically motivated incidents began with the 2014 shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, and the subsequent failure of a grand jury to indict police officers responsible for his death. The FBI assesses very likely incidents of alleged police abuse against African Americans since they have continued to feed the resurgence in ideologically motivated violent criminal activity within the BIE movement. The FBI assesses it very likely some BIEs are influenced by a mix of anti-authoritarianism, more sovereignty, citizenship, and BIE ideology. Again, this is going on where the records, the statistics show that the vast majority of police officers killed in this country are killed by right-wing, white right-wing separatist group, not black identity extremists. This terrorist designation serves to undermine black activism and anti-racist movements, as young black activists are called terrorists and have received death threats, as founders of the Black Lives Matter and others have experienced. And let us let us not forget who wrote the FBI report. The FBI who assassinated and set up and imprisoned many of our political prisoners. That's who wrote this report, just like they wrote COINTELPRO. We have these prisoners lingering in these gulags in this nation, men and women being held captive in this nation's gulag for their political views and actions that have challenged U.S. settler colonial terror. This has been Message to the Grassroots with your post scholar, Biz Molotov, a.k.a. the Voodoo Child, on your poor people's revolutionary radio TV, 96.1 FM LP. Stay strong and keep on keeping on. All power to the people.
All power to the people.
What's the call?
Free 'em all. What's the call? Free 'em all.
What's the call?
Free 'em all.
What's the call?
Free them all.
Preparation H. Hemorrhoid medicine.